Greg on this special edition of Gutfeld. Amazon is reportedly considering rebooting The Apprentice, where Donald Trump Jr. fires people. They're also considering rebooting To Catch a Predator, where Chelsea Clinton arrests her dad. Over the weekend, more than a dozen dwarves raided the Church of Scientology. And at least one couldn't make it back in time for work. Yeah, today is Star Wars Day. Most Star Wars fans celebrate it the same way, alone. Got him. Okay. A proposed bill in New York would allow criminals to be freed if they've turned 55 and already served 15 years. And critics say it could free serial killer Son of Sam. But supporters say they'll make sure he won't kill again by slapping a massive tax on murder. Spirit Airlines has abruptly ended operations, stranding countless travelers around the nation. Now, if you want to punch complete strangers in the stomach, you gotta take a cruise. After being forced to resign, Eric Swalwell is apparently still using Snapchat to message a former female intern. Asked to comment, Swalwell said, "Hey, when one zipper closes, another opens." The man accused of setting the California fire that destroyed 6,800 homes reportedly felt enslaved by the rich and was a fan of Luigi Mangione. Luckily, Democrats aren't supporting him because he's not hot. Over the weekend, 74-year-old Bill Belichick and his 25-year-old girlfriend attended the Kentucky Derby. Because if there's one thing his girlfriend loves, it's pony rides. And finally, over the weekend, The Devil Wears Prada 2 made $77 million at the box office. You remember, it's about a nice young girl who works for a cruel, totally unreasonable boss. So, a new report found that California's population declined for the first time since the pandemic, with over 50,000 people fleeing last year. And we get it. Homelessness, crime, high taxes, wildfires that burned down LA, while the state's leaders were harder to find than Amelia Earhart in a corn maze in the Bermuda Triangle. And 64,000 people left Los Angeles County. But one dude who lived through it all is so fed up, he's not leaving, he's running for office. Reality TV star turned LA mayor candidate Spencer Pratt watched his home burn down during those wildfires. And recently, he dropped this viral ad calling out his opponents for living in luxury while the state fell apart.
This is where Mayor Bass lives. You notice something? Or here, where Nithya Raman's $3 million mansion sits. They don't have to live in the mess they've created where you live. This is where I live. They let my home burn down. I know what the consequences of failed leadership are. That's why I'm running for mayor.
Ooh. Democratic socialist Nithya Raman responded saying, "Filming outside my home where I live with my young children feels unnecessary and reckless." But you won't believe what LA Mayor Karen Bass said. She's accusing Pratt of exploiting the grief of wildfire victims to get her out of office. Have you ever heard of Spencer Pratt?
I had never heard of Spencer Pratt. The thing I am concerned and feel about him is that I feel like he's exploiting the grief of people in the Palisades, and I think that's
right.
reprehensible. That's the main thing, and I think he is about his own celebrity. He's famous now again.
How can someone exploit their own grief? Try to get laid by saying, "Can we go back to your place? My house burned down." Now, usually when someone loses everything, you help them. You send a basket. You don't go on TV and trash them. So it's crazy to watch Karen Bass do interviews like she's the one who feels your pain, as if Democrats are the party of empathy. Because that image falls apart real fast when you're up against someone who actually understands real loss, who understands, like thousands in LA, what it's like to lose your home. So it's pretty rich for Bass to say Pratt is the one exploiting grief. Meanwhile, Pratt joined our own Will Cain to respond, and he did not mince words.
Sure, if Karen Bass forgot that she let my house burn down and my parents' house burn down, the only grief is my grief, my community's grief that I initially started this fight on behalf of. It's the most insane, psycho, diabolical thing I've heard in a minute, but it's not shocking. This is the same woman that will allow 7,000 houses to burn to the ground. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Insane, psycho, and disgusting. The same thing I tell my husband when he wants to watch lacrosse. But his message is exactly why his stock is rising. And it feels like he became a serious contender out of nowhere. Recent polls have him in second place. He's raised over $500,000 this year, more than any of his rivals. So what's going on here? Well, for one, he's not just talking about the problem, he's a victim himself, who lived through the consequences of bad leadership. And it doesn't hurt that he's pretty good at social media, too. He posted this video giving us a house tour of his trailer, thanking Karen Bass for his new digs. He even shows us his bathroom and lifts the toilet seat up. Yeah, too bad Greg's not here to see that. But between Pratt's situation, savvy social media skills, and a very out-of-touch Karen, this race may be starting to shift. And if Bass wasn't feeling the heat already, she just got an endorsement from Kamala Harris. Talk about getting kicked while you're already down. So, can a former reality TV star win the race? I don't know. As we said last week, crazier things have happened. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor. A child who looks like an old man got his own show. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, yeah. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's a nice guy who writes terrific books and is a real asset to the company. Host of Fox and Friends in One Nation, Brian Kilmeade. Wow. His act has inspired millions to say yes to drugs. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissow. She's trained more candidates than a DC dominatrix. Republican strategist Aaron McGuire. And he's made more old ladies moan than losing bingo numbers. Former NWA world champion and host of the Planet Tyrus podcast, Tyrus. I mean, Brian, it's kind of crazy.
What,
what's
my
going
introduction?
on?
You were nice.
No,
to me?
I was. I told you
What
you
is
would
going
like
on
it.
here? Are you sure this is Gutfeld?
No, I wrote that one. That's between you guys.
Okay, all right.
That's between you guys.
You're right. There's no tension or stress.
Right, absolutely.
It's early.
Yes, it's true.
So what do you think about this? Do you think it's just like a viral moment or two, or do you think that he has a real shot at winning?
Well, look, first off, that other contender that was upset that he was in front of her house and said, you pointed, and that's where I live. Was anyone upset when Ken Griffin, when our ridiculous Mayor Mamdani sat in front of Ken Griffin's apartment and said, this guy's got to pay more taxes? You didn't hear a word. Number two is, I'm sure you've tracked my life, and I know, Tyrus, you're on contract to do my unauthorized biography, so you know this. I loved California. I went 3,000 miles in a Toyota Celica, just with all the clothes I had and all my possessions in a hatchback because I thought they had such promise. And it's amazing. Yeah. The politicians have done the impossible. They have ruined the best state that had the best fundamentals in the country. You want the mountains, you got the mountains. You got rural America, you got great cities, and it's all been ruined. They even lost the movie industry. So the people in New York gave us the worst mayor. The people in Los Angeles had a chance to get Rick Caruso, an established businessman. He really was a Republican. And they picked Karen Bass, who feels more comfortable in Cuba than she does in Los Angeles. Really, she is a basically all but admitted communists, love Venezuela as well. So now you have a shot, Los Angeles, of fixing yourself. This guy, I listened to him on Joe Rogan, 3.5 hours. He knows the issues. He's not just looking to start screaming at people. He understands what he's up against. He wants to fix things. They spend $1.5 billion on homeless. They spend $235 million on a train. They didn't lay 1 mile of track. You can't screw up a state on purpose any better. Yet, the governor wants to be president and says phony facts about what he accomplished and thinks that we're all going to just listen and stand by and just watch. And I just think at one point, America has to sober up. This guy, Spencer Pratt, I've known very little about him before the last 3 months. This is the answer. I'm telling you, this guy can do it.
Erin, did you watch The Hills?
Yeah, of course. Yes, yes.
Does that inform your answer at all?
Well, actually, you would think if you watched The Hills that you would not be a Spencer Pratt fan,
Right.
as if you grew up as a millennial woman, as we did. He was the ultimate villain on TV, on MTV, in the era where MTV reality TV was what everybody was watching. And so to see him evolve really into this concerned citizen who has lived through an absolute unimaginable tragedy, losing his home, losing his community, and to step up, it's the authenticity that is working for him the most right now. It is the fact that that is an ad at his house. That is an ad of everything he has lost. And the contrast point being, these are the slums that they are supporting, and these are the beautiful homes that they get to live in. And they are totally fine as everybody else is having to live the results of their bad decisions and their bad policies. This is the opportunity for political lightning in a bottle. And this could be a real year where a Republican, somebody who says they are a Republican, as Spencer Pratt is running, could really make a run for LA mayor right now. Because the reality is when you've lived something that horrible and your community does as well, and the leadership still won't step up and solve the problem, that's when you can catch political lightning in a bottle like this. And MTV's Spencer Pratt, from all of his years, could really become the mayor of Los Angeles.
Crazy. Jamie, someone wrote a really mean question for you, but I feel like I can actually do a meaner one.
Okay.
Just off the top of my head. Okay. Jamie, you lost your house when another man came in and had sex with your wife in it.
It's very true, Kat. I do know. I feel for Pratt. I know what it's like to lose everything. I also know what it's like to see all that stuff when I pick up my kids. My favorite part of your monologue, it makes me laugh, is when you said Kamala Harris endorses Karen Bass. That is like saying a dumpster fire endorses a wildfire. It's like saying a canceled flight endorses a delayed flight.
Yeah.
I did not know. Did you guys know that the Palisades fire, it was the biggest natural disaster since whatever's going on with Karen's hair?
We're not sure. Not much.
Yeah.
Are those the ones you have?
Yep, I think I did one. Might have even done one too many.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's gotta stop talking about him, right? Like every time she responds to him and mentions his name, it's just gonna make Pratt bigger and bigger and more in the people's eyes. It's just adding fuel to the fire, and we know that she can't do anything about that.
Tyrus, you're from California. Beautiful place.
Used to be, yeah.
Yes. How frustrating is it for you to see kind of what it's become as it also gets more expensive?
Not at all, because I don't live there anymore, and that's why there's a mass exodus. Everyone's getting out, and I find it hilarious that career politicians are talking about what he did before. That what is the appropriate job for a politician? Clearly, it's not being a lawyer. We saw how they that up. So what is it? Like, what is exactly the job to be a good leader? He's doing this because he was given. It motivated him. He lost everything. Now he's in a little different situation because he was able to get a camper. There's a lot of families that aren't. And we don't see mass construction in California right now because California's not ready. We laugh at an endorsement from Kamala. They don't. She won California. And if she ran for governor, she probably would have won in a landslide. They are more excited with their suicidal empathy than they are with actual real empathy for someone who acts, because what did they do? They attacked him. If they had any inclination, either one of those two had any inclination about making change and fixing things, they would be embracing him like he is right. Although I don't think he's right for his job, I feel his pain. If I lost my home, I'd be angry too. But that's not what it is. Their game plan is simple. People will vote for them because they're women and they're brown and they're oppressed. Unfortunately, California has that disease
So you don't
still.
think he's got a shot?
If I was there, I would vote for him. I would campaign for him. I would do everything I could for him. But unfortunately, there's not enough people. The people that would make change, they change their address.
Wow.
Well, we will just have to see.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.